red silk with black fur. The smoking jacket was top of the line. There was nothing faux or man-made in it. Real silkworms died to make it, and a real black something had died for its accents. He wasn't really sure what the animal was supposed to be. Mink? Ermine? They're all basically long, smelly rats when alive, but damned expensive when deceased. That was the part that counted. He ran his fingers over the soft cuffs. Yes, damn nice after they were dead. He let himself into the study. The doors were heavy and stained a dark brown, and the rugs in here were silk, woven in exotic patterns and scenes. The one near the fire looked like it was from the Ottoman Empire or something. Not that he knew for sure. It was how it looked that mattered, and how much it cost. No fire was lit tonight, so he sat himself at the desk. The top was inlaid with pearl and ivory. It was all polished to a sheen so fine you could use it as a mirror. He should know. He was the one who polished it, after all. He sat in the expensive chair and propped his slippered feet on the shiny surface. He pulled his reading glasses from a pocket and placed them on his nose. The pile of letters on the blotter were open. He took the first one out. "Dear Sir," it started. He smiled. He knew this letter. It was the reason he had time to sit in his boss's chair, in his boss's jacket, in his boss's study. The man had it all. But for one night, he could pretend it was his. Maybe, someday, it would be. "What do you mean he's alive?" Teresa asked. She remembered to lower her voice at the last second. The quiet cafe around her didn't need to be privy to this conversation. "I mean, what a surprise!" She hoped no one was making a mental note. The last thing she needed was someone telling the police they had overheard her. The voice on the other end was distorted, as it always was. She'd never seen the person. She assumed it was a man, but had no proof. She always thought of them as he, anyway. "The doctors say he will make a substantial recovery." "How did that happen?" She was trying to keep her tone light and conversational, and had a slight smile on her face. "Nothing to see here, fellow diners. Nothing at all." Her food sat untouched on the plate in front of her, the late afternoon light fading and taking the warmth from the city as fast as her food was cooling. Toronto city lights were winking on around her. "You told me you were a professional and there'd be no problems." "We did not anticipate that he would be so resistant," the voice said. "The reports show that he had what should have been lethal amounts of arsenic in his system months before our contract began." "You mean someone beat me to it?" Teresa asked. "I'm afraid so. But they did it too slowly and he built up a resistance instead of dying." "That son of a bitch," she hissed. "Leave it to him to be such an ass that more than one person is trying to end him." "So it would seem," he agreed. "His current not-girlfriend is their prime suspect right now." Oh, Teresa could not help but smile at that. That was unexpectedly good news. She was not happy that the slime ball was still alive, but if someone had to go down for it, it was better that the woman he cheated on her with take the fall. "So, they're not looking at me at all," she confirmed. "No," he reassured her. "But they may contact you just because you are his ex-wife, so don't panic if that happens." No, I understand," she said. "Thank you for your help. The money is already in your account. It may not have gone entirely to plan, but this works for me just fine." Paul may not be dead, but he'd think twice about cheating ever again. That made her happy at least. It felt like someone had lifted a weight from her shoulders, the years of anger and hurt melting like ice in the sun. It'd take a while, but it would eventually happen. "I want it," Jeannie hissed in Abel's ear. "You know we're not allowed anywhere near it," he said back in a harsh whisper. "I don't care," she replied. Her bottom lip stuck out in a pout. "That is the CEO's office. I can't just waltz on in there because you want it." "Then tango," Jenny snapped. Abel glared at her and held a finger up to his lips. The other cubicles were silent. Either the occupants were so hard at work they were not making any noise at all, or they were listening to them argue. It's not a new phenomenon. This was every Friday. The white polka dot box always graced the CEO's desk every Friday morning. No one saw who put it there, and no one saw it leave, but every Friday it sat there, the tempting aroma of sugar and yeast. But it was not for the common people out here in the cubicle farm. No, it was for executives only. Every week, Jenny tried to get someone to get one of the prized pastries for her. Every week she was denied. "The executives' meeting will be over soon. It's now or never," she goaded him. "Why don't you do it then, if it's so easy?" "Don't be absurd," Jeannie said. "I could never." She sounded almost scandalized. So far, 3 men and 2 women had been fired while attempting the donut heist for Jeannie. Abel hadn't been here long enough to know that, at least not firsthand. "Fine," he huffed, and he left his little space. "But if I get fired..." He left the end of that statement hanging. Jeannie just smiled, a big, beatific smile at him, as if she was not asking him to risk his career over fried bread. He stalked off, eyes darting around nervously. No one pretended to not be paying attention now. Heads popped up over walls, and chairs were leaned back to watch him walk past. "You actually got him to do it?" a mousy girl from the other side of the wall asked, peering over the partition like Wilson or Kilroy. "I told you so," Jeannie said, grinning. "I told you I could get anyone I wanted to do it. The hush of the office was suddenly abuzz. The door to the conference room opened. Abel was still in the office. He was doomed. There was a collective gasp as the CEO stalked into his office with the vice president right behind him. The door shut with a final sounding thud. A soft plaintive cry of, "Oh no," could be heard from somewhere deep in the cubicle maze. Then Abel was standing there next to Jeannie, donut in hand. He stretched his arm out as if to offer it to her, and she greedily grabbed for it, but he pulled it away at the last second, shoving a huge bite into his mouth. "Donuts are for winners," was all he said around the sugary treat.